was to go out, go out, go out, go out. They thought, hear this, they thought that if Gentiles come in, it's going to have to be at the end of the world. They were right. Gentiles did come in at the end of their world, and their world went down fast. As fast as Jesus said it would. He said, this generation shall not pass away till these things be fulfilled. And then the temple came down and Judaism came down and Moses and Elijah were nowhere left on the field. A thing Paul was so excited about that in the church to Ephesians in chapter 2, he said, he is going to someday show us the glory of his riches in the ages to come. It's going to be amazing what it looks like when we get in the next age. It's going to be awesome. And guess who's living in that age today? And there ain't nobody left on the field. Just Jesus. What about Elijah? When they come down the mountain, the disciples say, what's this resurrection business? What are you talking about resurrection? Resurrection is supposed to be, if it even happens, it's supposed to be at the very end. Why did the scribe, 11, this is a bizarre question. Look at 11. Why did the scribes say Elijah's got to come first? They just saw Elijah at the top of the mountain. Now they already had their Moses image, tabernacles and clouds. Moses finished the work, Exodus 40, tabernacles and clouds. So the guy they still got to reconcile in their mind is Elijah. Right. So they walk down the mountain and go, what's this stuff about Elijah? Isn't Elijah supposed to come first? And he answered and told them, indeed, Elijah is coming first and restores all things. And how is it written concerning the Son of Man that he must suffer many things and be treated with contempt? But I say to you, Elijah has also come. And they did to him whatever they wished, as it is written of him. Was that the Elijah on the top of the mountain a second ago? No. That's a different Elijah. Look at Matthew chapter 17. Same transfiguration story. Matthew, by the way, Matthew writes his letter to Israel to warn them of the judgment that was coming in their generation. So he decides to throw in an extra verse to the story. Matthew chapter 17 verse 12. But I say to you, Elijah has come already, and they didn't know him, but they did to him whatever they wished. Likewise, the Son of Man is also about to suffer at their hands. Same people that killed Elijah are going to kill me. Guess what? Elijah didn't die in the Old Testament. So who's Jesus talking about? Verse 13. Then the disciples understood that he was talking about John the Baptist. If you've heard prophecy that Elijah's got to come back someday before Jesus, you're 2,000 years too late. Right. According to Matthew 17, Jesus said Elijah had already come, and they're going to do to me what they did to him. And then the disciples went, oh, well, he can't be talking about the Elijah of the Old Testament because that dude got in a chariot. And if they're going to kill somebody, it must be somebody whose head they just cut off. John the Baptist showed up, Malachi last chapter. The Old Testament ends with this prophecy. Elijah shall arrive before the great and terrible day of the Lord. And Jesus comes along and says, I'm here to tell you, he just died. Guess who's left on the field? You know what one of Elisha's first, Elisha, S-H-A, not Elijah. Remember Elisha? He follows Elijah, right? Double portion, right? Twice the prophet, right? Kind of like Jesus over John. Right. You know what one of Elisha's first miracles is? One of Elisha's first miracles is that he multiplies some food so that people can have extra food. The day Jesus hears John the Baptist got his head cut off, he goes into a mountain to pray, and 5,000 people show up. And Jesus turns around and picks up a kid's lunch and duplicates Elisha's miracle. Why? Because Elijah just died and there ain't no one left on the field. Did you know how big your Jesus is? When your Jesus walked on the scene, see, we've got him kicking devils and beating hell. Jesus was it wasn't just the beating of devils and kicking hell. He beat everything. But what Jesus did was fulfill everything. He stepped above everything that had ever been on the field. And when the heavens open and say, this is my son, listen to him, everybody else disappears, because the only one that's going to walk back down this mountain with you is Jesus. I want you, I challenge you, find a way in your life to do inventory of who's left on the field and make it Jesus alone. You don't have to fancy him up with any help. You don't have to prop him up with any other stories. He works by himself. All of that's great. The beauty of it is, Paul gets to the end of the 5th chapter of Ephesians. I'm not going to read it. We'll be there too long. I just got to share this with you. This is what I was going to preach tonight. Originally, I was going to end right here, so I'm going to end right here. Paul gets to Ephesians 5, and he basically throws a marriage conference. Ephesians 5. Husbands, love your wives. Wives, respect your husbands. He gets to the end of it. And he says, husbands, love your wives the way you love your own body, because this is the way Christ loves the church. And he says, I speak unto you a great mystery. What's a great mystery? Then he quotes a verse. He drags all the way back to the Garden of Eden. And he fulfills something that has baffled me at 1,000 weddings. See, I was raised in a pastor's home, so I went to a lot of weddings, and I've probably done 300 of them in pastoral ministry, probably literally. And the scripture's this, and God created a man and a woman, and the two became one flesh. And it's the wrong word. Because a husband and wife don't become one flesh. They become one spirit. Right? It bugged me. It's always bugged me. Just do it with me for a second. Adam goes to sleep, one body. God pulls a rib out of his side, 2 bodies. God wakes him up and they get married. They join together sexually. They join together intimately. And how does God describe it? One flesh. And you go, no, whoa. That's backwards. It's not one flesh. It was one flesh. Then it's 2 flesh. You can't go back to being one flesh if there's 2 people. And so Paul gets to Ephesians 5 and goes, it's been a great mystery. But what God meant was Christ and His church. Two different bodies, one flesh. So when God looks at Jesus, He sees you. One flesh. That's a great mystery. What a place. You just feel that, can't you? That just does something to your soul. It's like it just kind of rolls over you. It's like it brings some kind of confidence to you that's almost out of this world. Like you feel like you have something and you possess something. And you know what that is? That's opening your eyes like you're using them for the first time and looking around going, the great mystery's been solved. Christ and I are one. Paul also called it, and the great mystery that had been shut up from the ages, but hath now been revealed to us through the Gentiles, is Christ in you, the hope of glory. Why do you say it's been revealed in Gentiles? Because Israel always thought they had a corner on the market with God. But Paul said, wrong. The mystery has not been revealed through Israel. The mystery's been revealed through Romans and barbarians and Italians. Acts 10. I'm in a good place to say that, right? That's the Acts 10 family. He goes, it's been revealed in all of them. Christ lives in you. The hope of glory. Glory is transformation, wider than any launderer can make it. And you know what your hope is? To turn into the butterfly you're destined to be? Christ lives inside of you. So stop perverting it by putting anything else on the field. You don't need a Moses and you don't need an Elijah. Your Elisha is here. He's better than anything else. He's superior to all things. He is the culmination of the book of Hebrews. Christ is better than your angels. Christ is better than your temples. Christ is better than your Aaron. Christ is better than your sacrifice. Christ is better than your promised land. Christ is better than your Sabbath day. All of those are in the book of Hebrews. And Hebrews climbs a mountain and it says, you're not at Sinai, you're at Zion, at the church of the firstborn, and the judge of, and the spirits of just men made perfect, and Jesus. And he gets to the top of the mountain and he goes, now faith is the substance. You like a Judaism where you can touch lambs, knives, incense, blood, and have feast days? Now, faith is the only thing left you have to put your fingers on. So hold on to it, because there's no one left on the field. What do you think we're going to title this message? No one left on the field.